You have no idea how many times it took me to get saying this word right. Say the word paladin and you instantly see it, don't you? A shining knight in armour, noble, virtuous, sworn to protect. But here's the secret. The word didn't begin with fantasy novels or Dungeons and Dragons. It began in medieval legend, rooted in the tales of Charlemagne's court, where the paladins were his 12 great champions. Paladin once meant a defender of faith, justice and loyalty. Over time, it stretched beyond Charlemagne's France, entering poetry, literature and eventually fantasy role-playing games. Until today, where paladin means both a literal knight and a symbol of incorruptible virtue. So today, we're going to journey with the paladin, from royal courts to modern storytelling. Uncover its etymology, its mythic weight, and how writers can use a paladin to shape characters who embody ideals or wrestle with the impossibility of living up to them. If you've ever chosen paladin as your RPG class and wondered why this word feels so noble, stick with me and subscribe, because Wordbite is where we're going to dig deep into the stories hidden inside all of these words. I'm MT Links, indie author, comic artist and game dev, and if you enjoy learning the lore behind the language we use every day or the philosophy behind the punctuation which shapes how we communicate, do me a favour, do the algorithmy things. Click subscribe if you want to follow along on the journey, and if you get something out of these videos, do me a favour and give it a like. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I drop a new video, which is just about every day, hit the bell and it will let you know when a new video is queued up. Alright? Let's get back into the video. And here's why I'm going to tell on myself, because I have had a terrible problem with this word. My friends can tell you I could not pronounce this word to save my own hide, and I have had to do so many retakes of this video because this was one of the words I had trouble when I was relearning English. When I was reading it for the first time, I had never heard it said aloud. So I read it like the character name Aladdin. I did not call it a paladin, I called it a paladin. Go ahead and laugh. Paladin. I still will say paladin if I don't catch myself, honestly. And I had to do so many retakes because I've got my notes. If you see me looking around, it's usually because I've got my notes on the screen while I'm talking to you, so that I don't completely lose the thread, because I will ramble. You know, a storyteller, that's what I do. And if I don't keep track of it, say paladin, it's a paladin. I just did it right there. It's a paladin, not a paladin. Anyway, so back to the video. Paladin. The etymology of paladin. The word paladin comes from the Latin palatinus, meaning of the palace, from palatium, palace. Roman emperors had palatini, officials and guards who served within the palace walls. By the Middle Ages, the French chansons de guerre, epic poems of deeds, used paladin for Charlemagne's 12 noble knights, who were defenders of Christendom, guardians of honour. From palace official to knightly champion, paladin's meaning has transformed, carrying that aura of prestige and loyalty with it. Paladins of Charlemagne. In medieval lore, the paladins were Charlemagne's chosen 12, his inner circle. They weren't just soldiers, they were exemplars. The most famous is Roland, celebrated in the Song of Roland, where he blows his horn to summon help at Roncevaux Pass, choosing loyalty unto death. Alongside him was Oliver, whose wisdom balances Roland's courage. These paladins embodied the chivalric code: bravery, loyalty, faith, and sacrifice. They weren't merely characters, they were ideals, painted in armour and blood. But paladin didn't stay in medieval epic. It marched straight into Renaissance poetry, modern fantasy, and even gaming tables. Paladin in literature and modern usage. In Ariosto's Orlando Furioso and other Renaissance romances, paladins became larger than life, They fought dragons, defended maidens, and travelled across the known world in shining virtue. In English, paladin expanded, and by the 16th century it could mean any noble defender, not just Charlemagne's peers. You'll still hear it today, a paladin of justice, a paladin of democracy. And then came fantasy. Paladins became a class in Dungeons and Dragons. Holy warriors bound by sacred oaths, healers and protectors wielding divine light. That game-inspired usage has echoed across video games, novels, and pop culture. Paladins as archetypes. For writing applications, you can use a paladin to create characters who embody impossible ideals. But then introduce the conflicts. What happens when a paladin fails their code? In contrast, you can use paladins versus rogue, law versus chaos. With symbolism, paladins are light against the shadow, but also rigidity against change. For a writing exercise, you could write a paladin character tempted to break their oath. What does that temptation look like? What breaks it? And what breaks first, the code or the person? If you've ever rolled a paladin in D&D, tell me your wildest paladin story in the comments. I've got some epic tales about death clerics too. Mythic and emotional resonance. Paladin resonates because it embodies the ache of ideals. We long for heroes who are incorruptible, but we also know the weight of perfection truly is unbearable. And that's why paladins are compelling in stories, not because they're flawless, but because they struggle. The paladin's armor is heavy, and their oath impossible. Their virtue is fragile, and they show us the beauty and danger of chasing ideals too high for humans to hold. Paladins today. Today, the word paladin still shines. A politician may be called a paladin of reform. Not likely, but it could be called that. A gamer may roll one in a campaign. An author may twist the archetype, a fallen paladin, a hypocritical paladin, a reluctant paladin. The word hasn't lost its gleam. It still carries the golden aura, aureate anyone, of virtue, whether used straight or subverted. So the next time you hear the word paladin, remember it's not just a fantasy class. It's a legacy of legend, from Roman palaces to medieval courts, from Renaissance epic to tabletop adventure. Paladin means noble defender, and every story needs one, even if only to test how far nobility can stretch before it breaks. Thank you for joining me on this Wordbite, and if it gave you a new way to think about heroes, do me a favour and do the YouTubey things, and share this with a friend who loves knights and stories. And let's keep this chain of words shining strong. Until next time, keep writing, keep imagining, and may your oaths always be light enough to carry. And now you know. I'll see you in the next video. This one, right here. See you there.